Have you ever felt completely fed up with the day-to-day grind of thinking about what to eat? Maybe you can't be bothered to go out for a walk, or you just don't want to stick to healthy food anymore. You know you want to get healthier, but honestly, you're tired, you're overwhelmed, you're busy, and motivation, it feels like it left the building a long time ago. And I do hear this all the time. People say, I really want to get healthier, but I just can't get motivated. And maybe you've even said it yourself. I don't know what I should do. I don't have the energy for this. I want to eat better, but I'm bored of salads, tired of trying. And the other one is, I hear all the time, is I'll start when I feel motivated. So next week when work calms down, after a birthday party, etc., etc. I'm Dr. Neris Frater. I'm a GP and a founder of the Lifestyle Clinic. I spend my time helping people reverse type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes by making changes that last for the long term. And what if I told you that waiting for motivation is actually what keeps people stuck? That the people who succeed with reversing their diabetes aren't actually the ones with the most energy, who feel motivated all the time. And in this video, I'm going to show you their secrets. I'll share why waiting for motivation keeps you stuck, and the surprising action that actually comes first, how to break free from the willpower trap, and the real reasons we procrastinate on our health, and of course what to do about it. We're also going to be covering the small realistic steps that can actually create lasting change, even when you're fed up or exhausted. And I'm going to share my own story of how I finally built a habit that stuck. So by the end, you'll hopefully feel motivated to get started again. But let's get brutally honest first. I hear it all the time. I know what I should do, but I just can't get motivated. I'm waiting for that spark, that feeling of today's the day. But let me ask you, what is motivation really? Is it energy? Is it excitement? Is it a feeling of being ready? Or is it just a day when everything feels easy? Are you expecting a wave of enthusiasm to suddenly wash away years of habits, tiredness, or resistance? And it's funny, isn't it? We often don't really think about these things. Even the really important stuff like losing weight or improving our health, it can go unquestioned. We just assume one day we'll feel like it. But when we actually stop and think, have you ever really asked yourself, what are you waiting for? And this isn't meant to make anybody feel guilty, embarrassed, or ashamed. I'm really reflecting back what I hear every day. I've even caught myself thinking that way too on many occasions. And here comes the uncomfortable truth. And yeah, it will feel uncomfortable. Most of us are waiting for a feeling that we can't even describe. We're searching for some magical oomph that will make everything feel effortless. But what if that feeling never comes? What if motivation is actually the most unreliable friend you could have on this journey? So here's the question I want you to sit with. If motivation isn't showing up, what are you really waiting for? And how long are you willing to put your health on hold, hoping it'll arrive? So let's get clear on something most people never realize. Motivation isn't an endless well you can dip into whenever you need water. In fact, motivation is a lot like willpower. There's only so much of it to go around. Think of motivation as a tank you start your day with. Maybe you wake up with good intentions, feel a bit more positive and think, today's the day, I'm going to eat well, I'll go for that walk, I'm going to get started. But as the day goes on, work gets busy, kids need you, life throws curveballs, your motivation gets used up. By the evening, that tank is running on empty. And just like willpower, motivation is easily drained by stress, tiredness, decision fatigue, just the grind of daily life. That's why by the end of a long day or a long week, the very thought of making a healthy choice can feel impossible. And this is an uncomfortable truth. If you're relying on motivation to get you through, you're actually setting yourself up to run out over and over again. It's not your fault, it's just how human brains work. So if motivation isn't a reliable fuel source, what can you count on instead? But before we get into that, let's dig a bit deeper. Why do we keep putting things off, even when we know what's at stake? Now, this is uncomfortable for many, but also where real change starts. Ask yourself, what are you actually putting off? Is it the effort, the unfamiliarity, or even the fear that you'll try and it still won't work? Sometimes it's not just laziness or lack of discipline. It's actually something a bit deeper. Are you afraid of failing? Again, if you're really honest, are you a little bit afraid of what would happen if you succeeded? What would change in your life if you really did get healthier? What would you have to let go of, or face, or become? Sometimes we procrastinate to protect ourselves from disappointment or from the hard work of change. Sometimes it's just easier to stay in the familiar discomfort rather than risk the unknown. Now, this is not about guilt or blame. It's about holding up the mirror and asking, if you weren't waiting for motivation, what would you be willing to try? What's the real cost of putting your health on hold for one more day, one more week, or even one more year? And it is hard to face these thoughts sometimes, isn't it? But I do this quite often with people, and I find a lot of interesting thoughts bubble up. Sometimes they're excuses. So I don't have time, I'll start next week, I've got a birthday coming up. But it's your brain's way of keeping you safe, and that's okay. Life is busy, and change is uncomfortable. But let's see if we can shift things. Instead of using these thoughts to stay stuck, what if you use them as starting points? So if you don't have time, what's the tiniest thing you could fit in? For example, a 5-minute walk, glass of water, even just standing up and stretching if you're on the computer all day. If that feels hard, what can you do to lower the bar just for today? It might be that you're not that kind of person. What's one small experiment you'd be willing to try just to see how something feels? Sometimes just holding steady, staying where you're at, and not getting worse is also a win. Because remember, with type 2 diabetes, the natural progression is for it to get worse over time. If you're holding the line, you're already actually making progress. The real question isn't why can't I do it all, but rather, what's one thing I can do, even if I don't feel ready? Because those tiny actions matter more than you think. And believe it or not, they can actually spark motivation you've been waiting for. Here's where everything flips. The real secret isn't waiting for motivation. It's actually getting started even when you don't feel like it. Motivation, more often than not, comes from doing that. It is the result. You take action first and the feeling follows. You do not have to overhaul your whole life. In fact, the biggest mistakes most people make is trying to do too much at once. The magic is in the tiny steps. That 5-minute walk even when you're tired. Swapping one meal for something more nourishing. Filling up a water bottle and actually drinking it. Standing up and stretching while the kettle boils. Every small action is a vote for the person you want to become. And the more votes you cast, the more momentum you build. And suddenly you start to feel motivated, a little more proud, a little more of the I can do this feeling. And the best part is you don't have to feel motivated to start. You just have to start to feel motivated. And I'll be completely honest with you, for years I put off going to the gym because I thought I needed to do it properly. I was telling myself that I didn't have time. I didn't really need to go. I'm too busy. But once I asked those questions of myself, I realized that I didn't actually want to be one of those people who went to the gym, which is crazy, but I'd never questioned my reasons before. And once I realized the story underneath, all of it changed. Instead of thinking I would be pushing myself hard, I'd be there all the time, my only goal was to show up and walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes twice a week. That's it. No running, no pushing, no pressure, just 20 minutes of walking. And if I wanted, I could just leave after that. And you know what? I kept that habit going for 3 years. Actually, I'm still going. There were days when I just walked my 20 minutes and left, and that was enough. There were other times when once I'd started, I actually felt like running. And sometimes I would run for 40 minutes. But the key was I never made myself do more than that simple 20-minute walk. It was a baseline. That habit stuck. Not because I was super motivated, but because I made it so easy to start. I took the pressure off. And over time, those tiny, consistent actions added up to real change. I now see myself as a person that goes to the gym. So don't feel you need to overhaul your whole life or wait for a burst of motivation. Just make it easy enough to start, even on the days when you don't feel like it. And also, on that topic, you don't have to get it right every day. Progress is not about perfection. It's about showing up imperfectly and casting that other vote for your future self. Some days you'll feel proud, other days you'll just tick the box, and both count. Every small, even wobbly step is still a step forward. Please stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start with one tiny action today, because your future self will thank you. And for some, that tiny action could be to download a worksheet I've done. If you want to work out what is holding you back from getting started so you can overcome it and accelerate in the right direction, then click the link below. There's some really powerful questions there to get you unstuck. And if this video resonates, please subscribe, share it with somebody who needs that little nudge today, and let me know in the comments what one small action you are willing to take today. I'll see you in the next video.